and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we do have plenty of Barca news to discuss. And at the centre of it all today is the president, Joan Laporta, who has been speaking there to Barca 1, and he had words of praise, real praise there for the work that Hansi Flick is doing at Barca, but he did not hold back when talking about Luis de la Fuente. We're going to be talking all about those words and the big news, of course, of today as Xavi Hernandez meets Hansi Flick. It is all coming up, guys. I hope you're excited for the weekend. Let's do this. But let's first of all begin with some of the fantastic super thanks donations here, and just check this one out. I am protesting to bring back player ratings, and if you don't, I will have to wear a Madrid shirt to school. Bring them back. That there, it's an ultimatum. You know, what can I do? What can I say right now? That is something I'm going to have to consider, guys. Let me know if you would like to see the return of player ratings after games. It's something I've been thinking about recently, actually. And I also want to wish all the very best here to Kenneth from Nigeria. He's been going through a bit of a rough time right now, and he's also saying, should we already be thinking about extending Hansi Flick's contract at the club? Is a 2-year deal long enough right now? Is that something the club should be already thinking about? So let me know as well, guys, your thoughts on that in the comments down below. But let's start right here today with Robert Lewandowski. Not actually talking about his form of such, about his goal-scoring exploits over the past few games, but actually let's talk here about his contract situation. Because, of course, just yesterday, we spoke about a few centre-forwards, you know, being linked to Barca. Erling Haaland, Jonathan David, lots of names right now being linked. And we all know that at some point, Barca, they're going to go out into the market and they're going to try and sign a centre-forward. They are going to look to the future. I mean, we already did try to do that with Vitor Roque, but we're probably going to go back again and try again, maybe. It's a matter of when and not if. But on Robert Lewandowski right now, we know he has a contract until 2026, but he also has an option in that deal for a further year. And Laporta confirmed, actually, we will extend the contract of Lewandowski as soon as he reaches 50% of the games this season. He said that's a clause that has been included in his contract, which right now means that Lewandowski is almost certain there to extend that deal by a further year at the club. And it's interesting to look at this whole situation right now, because potentially if Lewandowski continues the form that he's in, you know, he's definitely improved this season. He definitely looked more like his whole self under Hansi Flick, and that's what we've all been crying out for there. Get him in the penalty area, in that finishing kind of role where he can be so effective. He can score goals for fun, and he still can. We know he's great for his age. We know that physically there are no doubts at all, even despite him, of course, getting on in years, he is still right up there physically. And if he does continue on this trajectory, then I don't think Barca are going to go into the market in the coming summer. I don't think they're in the summer of 2025. Maybe we're not going to be spending our money on a forward. And it just means then potentially, if you push that back maybe an extra year, does that mean that Barca will go bigger in 2026, for example? Because, yeah, yesterday we were talking about Erling Haaland, an absolutely massive operation. But think about all that time that passes there. Every single year, Barca's situation financially, it gets better and better and better. And if you just push that big forward signing back, it gives you more options there. It gives you more money to play with when that time comes here. So Barca, I think, are counting on Lewandowski. They want to see this form continue. They want to see this work with Hansi Flick continuing. And his contract, inevitably, will be extended by a further year. But speaking indeed then about the work of Hansi Flick at Barca so far this season, Joan Laporta, he was absolutely glowing in his praise of Hansi Flick there. He's really, really impressed, not only by the work that he's been doing at the club, but by the kind of person that Hansi Flick is there. He's been really impressed by his overall approach and his character inside of the club. Because Laporta said he has revolutionised the club there. Flick has brought in so many new ideas with his approach. He said he is a club man. He's integrated well into the city already. He's affable. He's close to people, demanding, disciplined. He leads by example. And he said he's also very professional, but he has a human touch as well. He's got a human side to him. And we are very happy with the work that Hansi Flick is doing. And Laporta was actually asked then, are you surprised by the impact that Flick has had? Are you surprised at the way that he's come into the club and the way that he is succeeding at Barca? And Laporta said, I was sure that he would do well, but I have been surprised by his ability to integrate. He has been very, very effective in that way. He said he goes out to see Barça Athletic, he watches their matches very closely in person, and his relationship with all of those responsible for the grassroots football at the club is very, very close to that. And I think that's a really important point again that we have to keep making about Hansi Flick, because when he arrived at the club, and when anybody from the outside takes charge at Barca, there's always doubts like, oh, are they going to trust in La Masia? Are they going to be able here to work with the younger players and understand the culture at Barca? You've got to give huge credit to Flick. It's like he's from here. You know, the way that he's come in here, he's adapted to Spanish football absolutely incredibly well, and he really understands the club. Very early on in his time here, he's looking to the youth players, he's giving players opportunities, and he's working so well and pushing the young, talented players we already had in the first team there. That's been so important for developing this squad and maximising its quality, and Flick does deserve huge credit. And the way that he has adapted to such a big role, I mean, it's been very impressive. However, though, guys, we also must speak today about the man that came before him, about the man that, let's be honest here, did indeed lay some very, very effective foundations of his own. And let's talk about Xavi meeting Hansi Flick. That happened right here today, and you can see Xavi here alongside Hansi Flick. This photo was taken at Xavi's home here. You can see him alongside his two children as well, and I thought today when I saw that, what a lovely, lovely image. I was really, really happy to see the two of them together, just talking things out. You know, I'm sure they had some really good stories to exchange, lots and lots of years in football between the two of them, and of course they both experienced what it's like to be in the spotlight here as the Barca head coach. And like I say, I think it's really, really important that we do appreciate both of them, because obviously, I've said before, there's always going to be comparisons. I don't think there needs to be. I really, really don't here, because I think we can all agree that Xavi did lay excellent foundations here with a very, very young team in difficult circumstances. He came in at such a rough time for the club, off the field, of course, financially, managing to turn that ship around. And now, of course, Flick has come in, and it's about building on those foundations now. It is about adding to those ideas, revolutionising a few things, and taking that next big step. That is what we are looking for, and that is what we're trying to see so far this season. And what's great about this meeting is that it wasn't organised by the club. It wasn't the club here who said, look, wouldn't it be a great photo opportunity, get the two of you together? Nothing like that at all. Apparently, for the past few weeks, Flick and Xavi have actually been in contact. They've been waiting to actually meet up, but obviously, especially Hansi Flick, he's been very, very busy with all the games that has been happening. So today, finally got a chance there to meet up with Xavi. The two of them have real mutual admiration for each other, and really nice to see that. That definitely did brighten my day. However, guys, it is not all rosy, because one man who didn't brighten my day the other day, it was Luis de la Fuente. He is somebody who definitely does wind me up. He does irritate me in the way that he speaks here about Barca players and the way that they are treated away on international duty. And of course, recently we spoke about the famous quote that he said there just before Spain's recent game, that he doesn't think it's his responsibility at all. He feels absolutely no responsibility to look after players with the national team, because that, apparently, according to him, it's all on the clubs, which, as we said, is absolutely ridiculous. And I was really keen to hear what somebody like Laporta thought of those words. They're listening to that away on international duty, putting all the pressure, all the responsibility only on the clubs. Well, Laporta too, and I'm really glad about this, he was having none of it. And I think Laporta's words are strong, but they are very much warranted. He said that if he thinks that it's the clubs who should be careful with the players, then they should give us the authority as to whether or not we even send players to the national team or not. He said, give us that authority then. If it's all on the clubs, we will decide whether to send them or not. They said they owe it to the clubs who pay the players. That must be taken into account, because Laporta said, we don't want a repeat of what happened with Pedri. Playing Lamine, it was reckless there. And like I say, Laporta not holding back on this at all, because I think it's so important here that it's very, very clear everybody must do their bit. I accept that Barca, they also have to take into account player welfare. They've also got to do their bit in resting and rotating, and we have done so far this season. We have been looking to do that, but it also applies to the national teams. We allow you to have our players, we pay those players, and in return, all we're asking is just a little bit of consideration. But Laporta actually went even further on this, speaking there about UEFA, about FIFA, about the footballing calendar, and especially about the Nations League. He said, look, I am against it. He said they have slipped this competition through the back door. They try to surprise everybody there, just introduce it sort of under the radar. He said the rights of the players, they are not being respected, and the clubs are the ones who pay for this there, because that's the root of the problem. The root of the problem here is these international competitions, and indeed new club ones as well, that are being magicked up from nowhere. All unnecessary games here. We can't keep adding and adding and adding to the calendar and expecting nothing to crack. We are seeing injuries. We are seeing ACL injury, guys, across the board happen on a weekly basis. Genuinely, we are seeing more and more and more concerns among the players. It has to stop somewhere, and we need to keep talking about these issues. So indeed, guys, just a moment there, catch my breath, calm down just a little bit. Like I say, this is really an issue that I'm very, very passionate about, protecting the players and just making sure that we can consistently see the best version of them, the best spectacle. That's what the game must be all about. We've got to get back to that. But hey, do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What is your opinion right there on Laporta's words, on everything we have discussed in today's video? And let me know as well how you felt when you saw Xavi alongside Hansi Flick, guys. I will see you tomorrow for all of the match build-up ahead of Barça versus Sevilla. Thank you indeed for watching, but until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.